Hello, everyone. I'm going to go over the Witch Occultist 3.20 guide, and this is going to encompass everything that I have learned while playing this build, and I played it a lot over the past week. So I have a lot of information. I'll give you different things you could do possibly, and generally, I'm just going to go over everything. I'm going to try and hit on everything I possibly can in this guide. So, without further ado, I will begin the guide, and I'm going to start with the talent tree. I'm going to go from start to finish in the order that I would take my nodes or my abilities or skills on the talent tree. So, I'm going to begin now. So, the first the first node I would pick up is Lord of the Dead, and then Death's Attunement. The reason why I would take these two is to increase my specters and raise zombies. Just generally keep making sure that I stay alive in my zombies and I have more zombies to kill creatures with. It's a nice DPS damage increase. After I took those two nodes, I went and I picked up Sacrifice to increase their survivability. My minions need to stay alive. So this is the only survivability node with the ones leading up to it to keep the minions alive. So make sure you take it. It's very important. After I took Sacrifice, I went and I grabbed Redemption. After Redemption, I took Righteous Army. These both are damage and DPS nodes, but Righteous Armor also has regen and I believe life for your minions. Yes. And for like a little tip, you could always use Unholy Might while leveling the minion offense mastery. It's very powerful. So after I took Righteous Army, I went down and I grabbed Great Pack. After Great Pack, I went to Sovereignty. This is for mana reservation. After I did that, I went all the way down. On the way, I picked this up, Constitution, and then I grabbed Sentinel. After Sentinel, I grabbed the three resists above it. It's Lightning, Cold, and Fire resist. After that, I went down and I picked up Champion of the Cause and Unwavering Stance. After Unwavering Stance and Champion of the Cause, I picked up Iron Reflexes. Iron Reflexes evasion rating to armor. You'll be using Grace. After you pick up Iron Reflexes, you're going to pick up Adamant. After Adamant, you will go and pick up Reflexes. Then, after Reflexes, you're going to get Intuitive Leap and then get Charisma and possibly the other reservation efficiency node. After that, you will jump over, pick up Call to Arms, the Warcry Mastery with 10 power in this ability as well. After that, you will go all the way up and you will take Corruption and then you will take the Chaos Mastery if you wish. Then you always have the choice of filling out your nodes, your jewel sockets. So if you ever get the gaze and you feel like you want to increase your damage, then you could do that. What the gaze does is when you use ghastly eye jewels, it increases the damage over time multiplier, and our damage multiplier is poison. So when you use 5 ghastly eye jewels, it increases it by 30%, the time multiplier. It's a very good buff to your damage and DPS. So that I'll leave that up to you. Whenever you feel you can actually get it and incorporate it into the build without hindering yourself, I would definitely do it. This could go anywhere after, I would say, you get the Warcry mastery. I forgot to touch on this too. The reason why I took Warcry mastery in these abilities and called arms is because I wanted to make my build a little bit more survivable. And with an instant war cry, like Enduring Cry, it also increases your physical damage reduction and your resists. And on top of that, whenever Enduring Cry goes off, it heals you. It's like a very large heal. So there's a lot of bonuses going in with that. Now, I don't have the new PoB yet, so this might change once I get to see it. But for right now, this is a very, very good build. Now, I'm going to jump into the ascendancies and how I picked them while I was leveling this week. Now, the first one I picked was Profane Bloom, DPS damage, explodey, explodey. Everything is dying really fast. I thought it was the best ability to take first. Then I took Void Beacon for more DPS and more damage, and for mobs not to be able to life regenerate anymore. After that, I picked up Malediction, which will be being changed in the next expansion. So I wanted another additional curse, so I took that. And my last one was Withering Presence. All of these ascendancies are extremely good. I also forgot to go over the Watcher's Eye. Now, the Watcher's Eye can have three effects to it. I have cast resist while affected by purity of elements, which is a very good one. So with Withering Presence and this, you practically have maxed out chaos resist, and you don't have to worry about it on gear. So it's beneficial to actually have it, and it has phasing while you have haste. What phasing does is it allows you to run through stuff in the game, monsters and everything. It makes life easier. Now, if you wanted to make this perfect, you could always get another stat line that gives you unaffected by elemental weakness with purity of elements. Or you could get, um, I believe it's 15 spell suppression with grace or haste. There's multiple choices, so you could definitely pick which one you want. But I would choose cast resistance while affected by purity of elements, and phasing while affected by haste, and unaffected by elemental weakness while using purity of elements. So and then I forgot to add the front line jewel that increases your survivability drastically. It's like it helps you against one shots. So like when the Awakener of Worlds uses his beam attack and you know you're gonna get hit by it, you pop your molten shell and the front line cluster jewel is gonna help you stay alive. Alright, I'm gonna jump into the skills really quick. The zombie gems are very good, but I say this in every guide that I do. You should always pay attention to what you're supposed to be using while leveling because it's ever changing. The gems required to do max DPS for your ability of the ability that you chose. Next, I'll just go over like I'll go over the curses and everything. So on the chest, the other six link, because we use a two-handed staff, you have temporal chains and despair, and you want to make them automated. So you're going to use blasphemy, and then you're going to buff it with arrogance and empower and whatever you want. I have molten shell attached to my chest as well, so you could also have your animated guardian here too to increase its survivability. So I'll just go over the other gems and the other um, gear slots that I have. I got raised specters, enduring cry for survivability. You're going to use chieftains with the raised specters for haste. Then you have your grip. Then you have feeding frenzy, a buff that you get while your specters attack creatures or mobs or bosses. Then you have brace for physical damage reduction, animated guardian for damage and to keep your minions alive. Withering step for more damage and DPS. Desecrate to allow you to make your zombies on the move or just to make them whenever they die. Then the ring is punishment. And then the helmet is all your it's going to be all your auras with enlighten to reduce the mana reservation of all of them. You got skitterbots for curse, you have haste for DPS and damage, and purity of elements, which is the most important. This is an extremely good aura. I use it a lot. I love it because of the way I play. I don't like healing myself with potions and using elemental resist potions. So I'm always using purity of elements. While leveling, you're definitely going to want to use purity of elements first. After that, it really doesn't matter. So let's jump into items really quick. The cane is very good cane. Now, in my other guides, or while I was leveling, I used another six link, and then I switched to the United of the Dreams Cutlass. So that was my progression. You really don't need like anything special, but once you start getting higher level, you should start using the cane or the United Dream, I believe it's called. So either of those two will work. Then you could get a bone shield while you're using United Cutlass. So you're not going to have a shield with the cane. The helmet is extremely good stats, but the implicits are wrong. You want to have increased damage for despair and mana reservation for your implicits. The body armor is correct with the elemental resist, but you want to have the unique enemy in your presence takes increased despair damage. The gloves are self-explanatory, high DPS, and you have and you want to make sure that all the sockets are white. While leveling, you don't have to have all white sockets. You could definitely use a couple of white sockets and still get good DPS and damage from them. I also use Commander of the Pit while leveling, and I attach two ghastly eye jewels that increase the chance to poison by 10% to 15%. The boots are self-explanatory. You want to use boots that have good run speed, resists, you know. But while leveling, you will definitely want to be using Wind Shriek before you can actually finish out your gear. Just as a tip and a reminder, the necklace is the last item you're probably going to get. Maybe not. You might get lucky and you save up for it, but what it does is it allows you to use temporal chains and despair without any reservation when casted as an aura. So, very powerful, very strong. Now, you could always use just despair or temporal chains or punishment and use the same necklace. And I'll explain how you could do that in a second. Now, I'm going to go over the profane proxy, the ring. Now, while leveling, you can use the profane proxy to give yourself three curses at once with wind shriek in your mastery malediction. So, if you wanted to, you could bypass using this item, even though this item is like insanely good, and you could put whispers of doom on it for another curse. You can always circumvent that and use two profane proxy rings with wind shriek boots and get three curses the same way. I have it in one of my guides if you'd like to look at it. I'll have it posted in the description below. The Behemoth Eye Bone Ring is self-explanatory. The dime a dozen, you'll definitely get a good bone ring. The belt is my favorite belt in the game. So what it does is it allows your minions, not your minions, I should be more specific. It allows your zombies and specters to use your flasks. And it's a huge DPS increase when your flasks are going. So it's my favorite item in the game. I love using it. I don't like playing any other way. I have a couple of builds I made that doesn't have it, but for the most part, it's my favorite item in the game, and I use it in every build I make. Then you have the rock gut, which gives your minions onslaught from consuming frenzy charges. Onslaught's getting buffed in the next expansion. I'm not really sure how I'm gonna like incorporate that in there, or if I'm going to incorporate it, but it's just a little tip and like some information. Then I use the poison flask, bottle of faith, then sin's rebirth, and then the last one, which gives your minions calling strike. Now I'm going to jump into configurations and I'm going to go over it really quickly. So you have the gods. I killed all the bandits. You have endurance charges from enduring during cry. Your minions will be using frenzy charges from the chieftains from Act Two. You have onslaught because of the flasks, rock bud. Then you have elusive, and then you're on consecrated ground as well. All this other stuff you could click if you want to. It's not really that important. You have feeding frenzy from the specters while hitting creatures or mobs. You have 10 war cry power from your mastery. The the PoB is set to Pinnacle bosses. I have enemy low life on. You could always take it off to see how much damage you would do without punishment going. And it's 1 million DPS about it. I'm rounding up. But with it on, when he gets drops really low, it goes up to almost a million nine. 8 withered stacks. You could always increase your wither stacks with elaborate enchant for withered step, and that could be 2 to 3 if you want. Then you're on consecrated ground. Your enemy is on consecrated ground. So I'm going to jump into the game and I'm going to do the Ceres fight really fast. Now, I'm not going to edit this or do anything to change this. And I'm going to go through what I'm doing. All right, here he comes. I'm going to destroy everything. So, you want to make sure that you run around while you're fighting creatures and everything to get your endurance charges stacked up. Come on. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I'm going to burn this place to the ground. Alright, so when you first start the Ceres fight, you can automatically practically run right to the middle of them. So now I'm gonna be running around in like a little circle. When he drops and he moves, I use my flasks and then I use Withering Step. And then whenever I feel like I'm in danger, I'll use Molten Strike. So we just gotta wait to get in the bottom of them again. Ooh, that was close. Oh, come on. This is probably one of the most annoying fights in the game. It might be one of the harder ones too. Alright. So we're gonna wait till he moves. Flasks, then Withering Step, and then when you feel like you're in trouble or you need more support to keep yourself alive, make sure you use Molten Shell. Alright. So we're moving on to phase 3, which is the same as the other phases. Alright. Hopefully I can get in the bottom of them really quickly in this video. Okay, there we go. So you're going to save your flasks on this turnaround. So there you go. You use Withering Step. You move. You want to protect yourself because you don't know what's going to happen because he moves everywhere. Withering Step. You want to use it on cooldown to do enough damage. So, alright, the last phase is coming up. Now, this is where you want to like blow everything that you have to blow him up at the beginning of the fight. This, what I'm showing you, is going to be indicative of a lot of your fights, your boss fights. You'll learn what to do and what not to do. Now, all your flasks are up. Everything is up. You have Val Haste. Oh, come on. All right, there we go. I'm gonna pop everything. So, see, he's almost dead. I'll just leave it at that. So, I hopefully you got a general idea of how the build works. And I also want to add that if it was 3.20, he would have died probably a lot quicker too. So, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a nice day. And as always, be safe and be careful.